Okay, so this is a question where we're given a function 2x squared minus 3x plus 1, and we're asked to find the vertex, axis of symmetry, all that good stuff. This one's a little bit trickier, so this is the completing the square issue where we've got quite a lot of fractions. So this is a good one for extra practice. Let's go ahead and start off right away. The point is we're trying to complete the square here, so whatever is in front of the x squared has to be factored out first. And that's kind of like your a value. This will be the vertical stretch or shrink that you'll see later on. Okay, so this factor out the 2 and I'll be left with an x squared minus a 3/2 x, and then that plus 1 we'll just leave alone. Now where did that 3/2 come from? I want you to notice the whole point of factoring is actually a form of division. So I took the 2, divided it by 2, and that's where this 1 was left over with. I took the 3, divided it by 2, and that's where this 3/2 came from. So that's the idea of factoring that out. And of course you can always visualize that by distributing over again to understand where that came from. Okay, either way, then we're going to continue with completing the square. So completing the square is you take the middle number and you divide it by 2. Okay, so that's the same thing as taking 3/2 and multiplying by 1/2 dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2. Okay, and that'll give us 3/4. And then you square it. Okay, remember you take that middle number, you divide it by 2, and then you square it. So in this case, when I squared that, I got 9/16. So that's what's going to go into this spot right here. So I'm going to add 9/16 here. But keep in mind, get a different color here. Keep in mind what we really did was it was 2 times 9/16. If I were to think about the fact that this is a distributing, it actually was a 2 times 9/16, which then can reduce into 9/8. So we're actually going to go minus 9/8 to be on the other side. Okay. A little bit more confusing with that many fractions, but I took the 9/16, added it inside the parenthesis. Got to do the opposite outside, but technically this was a 2 times 9/16, so it was the minus 9/8 on the outside. Okay, let me rewrite this so that we're so I'm all back to the same page here. So we still had a 2, I had an x squared, I've already forgotten, it was a minus 3/2 x, and then plus 9/16, and then I still had the plus 1, and then the minus 9/8. Okay. Alright, actually going back to this really quick, to this page. That was, the middle number we had was technically negative, so in fact that was a negative 3/4. This would be a negative here. So when you go to factor this though, completing the square, the number on the outside, that a value stays there. And then this will be x minus 3/4 squared. It's whatever number you got before you squared it. This minus 3/4 follows along with this minus 3/4 right here. Whatever number you got before you squared it is what goes there. Alright, and then I still have a plus 1 minus 9/8. So that plus 1 minus 9/8 is what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to actually add those two fractions so I can get a single fraction. So it'll be a 8/8. Oops, sorry about that. There we go. 8/8 minus 9/8. That's the positive 1 minus the 9/8, which turns into a minus 1/8. So then when you're to rewrite that, you are ending up with 2 times x minus 3/4 squared minus 1/8. So that's what we've got once we've completed the square. So now our new function, f of x, it's the same function, it's just written a different way. X minus 3/4 squared minus 1/8, which means our vertex, once it's in this form, you can identify the vertex. Inside the parenthesis, changes signs. Outside the parenthesis, stays the same. So our vertex was 3/4 comma negative 1/8. Our axis of symmetry would then be the x equals 3/4 if we're asking for the axis of symmetry. Other things it always asks for are maximum and minimum value. And again, because this a value here is positive, this is an upside up parabola, which means that this would be a minimum value. So that means that the minimum value is the y value, so that's the negative 1/8. Okay. Ta-da!